Well, the Iceman has entered the chat. The original Iceman has entered the chat. And it's hilarious. We're going to look at somebody's Twitter post on this because you can see how many young folks are in the, because it's like, what? How do you not know who George Gervin is? I can't even imagine that.
A few weeks ago, Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams filed paperwork to trademark the nickname Iceman. 4 separate filings, the name itself, a logo, and 2 different silhouettes. Standard athlete branding move, right? Except there's a problem. A Hall of Fame-sized problem that just entered the chat.
For his silky smooth finger roll layup. Boy, that finger roll was vicious. Now, with the news that Caleb Williams is trademarking the Iceman title, George Gervin is fighting back. Woo-wee. I knew that was going to happen. According to Patrick Finley of the Chicago Sun-Times, George Gervin is disputing Caleb Williams' Iceman trademark. Man, should have come up with something original. Alleging that the moniker should be his to use since he was known as the Iceman as far back.
George Gervin, 9-time NBA All-Star, 1996 Hall of Famer, the man who made the finger roll famous and wore number 44 for the San Antonio Spurs. He's been called the Iceman since 1979, that's 45 years of brand recognition, and he's not about to let a rookie quarterback walk away with his legacy. According to the Chicago Sun-Times reporter Patrick Finley, Gervin has already filed 2 counter trademarks, Iceman and Iceman 44. His team isn't playing games here. They're prepared to contest this all the way to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office if Williams gets approved.
References Gervin's jersey number when he was with the San Antonio Spurs. According to Finley, if Williams is granted these trademarks, Gervin plans to contest the matter to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Older fans may still think of George Gervin when they hear the name Iceman. Gervin has a strong case. Gerald Sarno, the president and CEO of Gervin Global Management, has said, quote, all the trademark inspectors got to do is one Google search and they'll see hundreds and hundreds of articles on the Iceman, George Gervin.
Gerald Versailles Sarno, president and co-CEO of Gervin Global Management, laid it out perfectly. All the trademark inspectors got to do is one Google search and they'll see hundreds and hundreds of articles on the Iceman, George Gervin, and he's not exaggerating. Try it yourself right now. Search Iceman and sports in the same sentence. Gervin dominates the results. But here's what makes this situation particularly fascinating. This isn't just about legal trademark precedent. This is a generational collision between old school basketball royalty and modern NFL stardom, and the internet is choosing sides in the most brutal way possible.
If inspectors are old enough, they'll likely have Gervin's famous Iceman poster hanging on their bedroom wall when they were kids. Bears fans who are old enough to remember watching Gervin play, or even who remember their dads and older siblings talking about him, probably have trouble calling Williams the Iceman last season, even as he proved to have ice in his veins over and over again. The impact that Gervin had on basketball was undeniable, and those older fans likely still remember how they used to emulate Gervin's finger roll while playing basketball with their friends.
Look at the social media reaction. One person posted, not a single soul hears Iceman and thinks of George Gervin, and got absolutely ratioed. 269 likes, but 128 quote tweets tearing him apart. The responses are merciless. Only children never heard of George Gervin. You must have been born after 2000. The George Gervin slander in these comments is crazy, and my personal favorite. Everyone saying who exposes a tragic lack of ball knowledge. This is what happens when Gen Z sports fans discover that their favorite athlete's nickname has 45 years of history they never learned about.
Let's just bring it up. Let's just bring it up. Man, look at that poster. It was crazy as hell. It was crazy as hell. No doubt about it. Come on now. So anyway, right down here, there was more to this. Let's go over here. This got posted right Yeah. So, George.
But Gervin isn't the only Iceman with a claim here. Chuck Liddell, UFC Hall of Famer, former light heavyweight champion, has been the Iceman in mixed martial arts for decades. Val Kilmer played Iceman in Top Gun back in 1986. There's Iceman from the X-Men comics and movies. Vanilla Ice went by Iceman. Even professional wrestler King Parsons was known as Iceman in world-class championship wrestling during the 80s. Williams didn't just step on one legend's trademark, he walked into a minefield of established Iceman across multiple industries. The question isn't whether he can win this fight, it's whether his legal team did any research before filing.
All I'm saying is, young fella, we've already got one Iceman. Woo-wee. I mean it. I mean it. Shut down. This guy got ratioed to hell. Look at this. 269 likes, 128 quotes. Woo-wee. Okay. Not a single soul hears Iceman and thinks of George Gervin. Wrong answer. The very first thing I thought of was George Gervin. Retard. Only children never heard of George Gervin. I mean, wow. That's crazy.
Now, Gervin has been classy about this entire situation. He released a statement through the Chicago Sun-Times. "I've got nothing but respect for Williams. He's already proved greatness, and his potential upside is great, like an Iceman. But that name is taken. All I'm saying is, young fella, we've already got one Iceman. That's how you handle business. No disrespect to the kid, no trash talk. Just a simple statement of fact backed by 45 years of brand equity. Williams is talented, nobody's questioning that. He showed ice in his veins multiple times during his rookie season, but wanting a nickname and having legal rights to trademark it are two completely different things."
Why are we letting it go, man? I mean, seriously. Kids in the comments disrespecting George Gervin is why I'll never take this generation seriously. I mean, hey, here's a good point. Iceman, anybody? I don't know how we get there. You know, everyone's saying who, exposing a tragic lack of ball knowledge. Holy shit. If anybody should be the Iceman, yeah. There's Chuck. There's Chuck for real.
Here's what this really comes down to. In trademark law, prior use matters. It matters a lot. Gervin has been commercially using Iceman since 1979. He had one of the most famous posters in basketball history, the silhouette shot that hung on bedroom walls across America. He's in the Hall of Fame under that nickname. His entire brand identity for nearly half a century has been built on being the Iceman. Williams filed his trademarks in 2024 after one college season where fans started calling him that. The legal precedent here isn't even close. This is like trying to trademark Air for basketball shoes when Michael Jordan already owns it. And this is where the generational divide becomes really apparent. Older fans who watched Gervin play, or even just grew up hearing their parents talk about him, can't fathom how anyone wouldn't immediately associate Iceman with number 44 in the silver and black Spurs jersey. That finger roll was iconic. His cool demeanor in clutch moments defined an era of basketball. But for younger fans who grew up watching football, who maybe don't follow basketball history, Caleb Williams is their introduction to the nickname. They see a quarterback staying calm under pressure, making plays when it matters, and they think that's original. They have no context for the 45 years of history that came before. The comment section reveals this perfectly. You've got people genuinely asking, who is George Gervin? While others are responding with shock and disbelief that anyone wouldn't know. It's not malicious ignorance, it's just a gap in sports education that social media is now filling in real time. Here's what makes Gervin's case even stronger. He's not just claiming the nickname, he's actively protecting a business. Gervin Global Management exists specifically to manage his brand and legacy. They have merchandise, licensing deals, appearances, all built around the Iceman identity. This isn't a retired player trying to squeeze money out of nostalgia. This is an active business protecting its intellectual property from from dilution. Williams, on the other hand, filed 4 separate trademarks trying to lock down every possible commercial use of the name. That's aggressive brand management for a rookie who hasn't played a full NFL season yet. It shows ambition, sure, but it also shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the landscape he's entering. Think about it from the Patent and Trademark Office's perspective. They receive Williams' application for Iceman related to sports merchandise and endorsements. They do the mandatory search for prior use. Immediately, George Gervin's name appears hundreds of times. Hall of Fame basketball player, 45 years of commercial use, existing merchandise lines, active brand management. The examiner doesn't even need to dig deep, it's right there on the surface. And if Williams somehow gets initial approval, Gervin's team is ready to file an opposition. They've already prepared their counter trademarks. They have documentation of continuous use since 1979. They have the poster, the merchandise, the Hall of Fame induction, the jersey retirement. This isn't a fight Williams can win through persistence. The evidence is overwhelmingly against him. But here's the broader question this raises. Why didn't Williams' team catch this before filing? Professional athletes have entire legal teams managing their brand. Someone should have done a basic trademark search and immediately flagged George Gervin as a massive obstacle. Either they didn't do their homework or they thought they could bulldoze through it anyway. Neither option reflects well on the decision making here. The Chuck Liddell angle makes it even worse. The Iceman is literally part of Liddell's official fighting name. He's in the UFC Hall of Fame under that moniker. He has merchandise, video game appearances, broadcasting work, all using the Iceman brand. That's another massive prior use case that any competent trademark search would have uncovered immediately. What this really exposes is the difference between a nickname that fans give you and a nickname you can legally own. Fans can call Caleb Williams whatever they want. Broadcasters can use the nickname in commentary. That's all fair use. But the moment you try to trademark it for commercial purposes, merchandise, endorsements, licensing deals, you're entering legal territory where prior use and brand recognition matter. Gervin's approach has been perfect. He's not trying to stop people from calling Williams Iceman in casual conversation. He's protecting his right to commercially exploit the nickname he's been using for 45 years. That's reasonable. That's what any business would do when someone tries to trademark their established brand. And the social media response shows that public opinion is firmly on Gervin's side. Even people who've never watched a Spurs game in their life are defending his claim once they learn the history. That matters in trademark disputes. Consumer confusion is a key factor. If the public associates Iceman with George Gervin, that strengthens his case significantly. So where does this leave Caleb Williams? He's got a few options. He could withdraw his trademark applications and just use the nickname informally. He could try to negotiate some kind of licensing deal with Gervin, though that seems unlikely. Or he could fight it out in trademark court and almost certainly lose while spending a fortune on legal fees. The smart move would be to pick a different nickname, something original, something that doesn't have 45 years of basketball history attached to it. Build his own brand identity instead of trying to borrow someone else's legacy. Because right now, every time someone calls him Iceman, they're not thinking about his cool demeanor under pressure. They're thinking about the legal battle he's losing to a Hall of Famer. This whole situation could have been avoided with 10 minutes of research, one Google search, one conversation with a trademark attorney who knows sports history. Instead, Williams is now in a public dispute with a beloved NBA legend, getting educated by basketball fans on social media and facing an uphill legal battle he cannot win. George Gervin said it best, "Young fella, we've already got one Iceman." And after 45 years of owning that name, earning that name through one of the smoothest games basketball has ever seen, he's not giving it up for a rookie quarterback who thought he could trademark his way into history. The Iceman has entered the chat, and he's not leaving.